right, Morris.
Cool.
How did the band come together? Where did it all begin?
Well, to be honest, the band came together a few years ago, right before COVID. I used to be an electronic musician and I did a lot of like drum and bass and house and music like that. But before I did those things, I was like an old school indie rock musician. And then I guess after my electronic period, I was hooking up with a guitarist I used to know from my younger days. And we kind of got together. We're talking about music, and we decided to start this thing called TWOFVCE because it was just the two of us back then. And we started experimenting with it. That's kind of how it started. I think about 5, 6 years ago. This was when this
And
happened.
and 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 COVID didn't kill it.
Well, to be honest, we were actually doing really well right before COVID then. So we entered some music competitions, sent our music to some radios in Europe, and we got picked up reasonably quickly. But then COVID actually killed it. So
But you'd got a taste. It's like drugs.
exactly.
It's like drugs. You get a taste, and then they take it away, and you're diseased to get some more. So you came back and you got some more. And after COVID, did you find that it was similar, or did you find it was a bit of a slow haul because of COVID and the slower take up, or did people jump back?
Well, to be honest, it took a slow roll, but I don't know if I could put it on COVID. In when COVID killed everything, you know how it goes. People start making decisions. You know, here in Europe, everybody wanted to leave the city, live in a house with a garden again. And in my specific band, like people got babies, they got
Yeah,
married, stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
So I had to reconstruct the whole thing. It was just me left after COVID. So I went into the studio with no producers, no engineers, and it became a one-man show, to be honest. Obviously, there's a lot of people who work with me, and I
Yes, yes,
always
yes,
want
yes.
to give them credit. But in the band remains only I.
We were doing 100 shows a month covering, and we went to zero for about a year and a half, 2 years. So I did promo overseas. Basically, I just caught up with a lot of overseas. That's why we've got a healthy audience now, because we've got a worldwide audience, and that's why, because for the COVID era, we had to spread. How would you describe your sound?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the most crucial part of what I do is that it's kind of groovy. So it's always has a kind of a groove to it. So it leans more into soul and hip hop and those things at moments, even though it has a strong like indie bass with some electronica and some synths. But I think I'm some kind of an indie pop soul artist, to be honest, if I'd have to call it something. Although it's reasonably eclectic in general.
Okay, okay. And the influences, what artists would you say, if someone was listening to your music, are there artist influences in there that you'd say come through?
Yeah, for sure. Like I get heavily influenced by parcels from more recent musicians, the Australian guys. But I'm also
By
really
who,
into like
sorry? Who was that? Who was that?
parcels or parcels. I don't know how
Parcels.
the
Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah, yeah. I really love them. I'm also really into like I told you like a lot of Afro American music, the soul, like D'Angelo. I love Dr. Dre, the hip hop guys, but I'm
yeah.
also really into Radiohead, Pink Floyd. You know, the long organs, the synths. So,
Cool, 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 cool. And why do you think fans resonate? Is it the performance? Is it the music? What do you think fans where do you get your followers from, do you think?
I think my fans resonate with the music more than the performance right now because I haven't been able to play out live that much because of COVID and reconstructing everything.
Yeah.
And I have been told and have noticed so far that my music goes really well into playlists. So I think it's quite catchy and people pick up on it easily, but it still stays interesting enough so it doesn't get boring after three runs, you know? I think that's somewhere kind of where I apparently make reasonably catchy things that stick into people's heads.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so your latest single, "Colored Sky," is coming out in May. Is that right?
That's correct, the
A-
25th.
And it's from an album, "Floating Perfectly Flat on Land." Is that correct? When's
That's
that
also
when's that coming out?
Well, so the album is coming out in singles. So we're gonna have 8 singles first, and then the 9th one will be the full album vinyl with 2 extra tracks.
And do you have a date for that, or you haven't got a date for that yet?
There's no fixed date on that yet.
Okay,
Kind of
yeah.
depends on how the singles goes.
Okay, so Coloured Sky is the first single,
Exactly.
and what's it all about? Tell us what it's all about.
Well, Colored Sky is like a collaboration between me and Maurice Monti, who's a really talented musician who works with a lot of different people. He's also a movie composer. And me and him got into some abstract city vibes, city views. Like the Colored Sky track is actually about a night in Tokyo, like one night in Tokyo and how it could look like, but in an abstract way. So it's not nothing too concrete.
And are the singles coming out monthly, or are they coming out? Is there going to be some sort of measurement for it, or is it just haphazard, or?
No, so the current schedule would be 6 to 8 weeks between every single. But that also depends on, let's say a single is doing really well and the attention keeps going, then it's
You'll
probable
ride
that we will,
it.
so then we'll let it ride a little bit longer, and then the next one will be scheduled later.
And is there any performance coming with them, or have you got any gigs scheduled for any of these releases, or what are you what sort of live performances? The issue that I've got, I reckon, you basically performance bakes in a fan, because you get the most opportunity to play for them. You can talk to them before, you can talk after, you can do something that basically gets a connection. And in between music or us, we feed the audience. So you keep them seeing you by virtue of the fact you bring out an interview, you bring out a review, you bring out something social media. So you keep in their minds. But basically, performance for me has to be pretty critical. Except if you're a movie star and you've decided to go and become a muso, and you've already got a following from your movie, so all you have to do is bring out some videos and away you go. So that might be but really you've got a following. So to develop your following, generally you've got to do that from performance, in my experience, and I think that most people sort of say the same thing. So have you got a schedule for performances? Have you got stuff coming up?
Yes, so I agree with you, by the way. Although I have to say, as an indie artist, I've gone from zero to hero a couple of times because I have this kind of tendency of staying only as long as I really feel connected to the music. For instance, when I was doing drum and bass, we were playing Tomorrowland, all the major shows all over Europe. And I just stopped it at 26 because I felt like the connection between me and the 16-year-old on the front row was gone.
Sure.
And I didn't want to capitalize on this thing.
Sure.
So,
But I think that's a good thing, because I think consciously there's a moment in collaboration with it. That's life. And so as soon as you lose your connection to self, you may as well give everything away, because basically if you're just connected to money, or you're just connected to outcome, that's just a thought sort of existence. It's not really a feeling existence. And so stopping and starting and stopping and starting, from my perspective, is an authentic process. And in the influence age, authenticity is very important, I think, because we've sort of broken down access. Everyone can access. You can have tits and ass and have 1 million followers, so you don't have to really do anything. So access is pretty simple. So basically, in performance, the people that bake in usually bake in because they're connected to you authentically. Not so much because there's too much music that comes out every day now. And so if you don't have some sort of authentic connect, they just flick, 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 flick. So I don't think that's a bad thing. So how many times have you done that cycle?
this will be the 4th time I'm doing it.
Okay. And do you find that as you're getting older, you're finding more, you're getting closer to your, sort of finished product, or whatever that is?
Partially, yeah, but also like what you've been saying, to pick up on that, I also feel like I had this feeling a long time ago, like when I was 16 and playing in these indie rock bands and doing festivals and stuff like that. I was already looking at, like, if I'm 60, will I be Keith Richards or will I be Herbie Hancock? You know, will I be playing jazz with some lads in a bar, or will I try to still be like encouraging the young generation? And at that time, to me, it felt more like I would become Herbie Hancock, even though I'm a massive fan of Keith Richards. So one doesn't necessarily exclude the other. But so yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, for me, it's those two things together. It's me growing ever to making. I think this album is the best thing I've ever done, but also it's something that fits with who I am right now and the audience I want to interact with right now.
Good. Okay, if you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, who would you choose and why?
Oh, I would choose Bob Marley, but this is like out of idolatry. Like, I'm a massive fan.
Massive.
Yeah, massive.
You're not the first person that said that. Yeah.
I would imagine. I'm happy.
Yes, what a superstar. Okay, long-term aspirations. What have you still got up your sleeve? What are you looking forward to, or what are you aiming for?
Well, what I would love to do is get this project to go viral and then do a really cool world tour with all the people I've been working on, because also something I've always wanted to do really came together on this album. Like, I get a lot of really talented people who I've met over the years, or who I only met in making the process of this album, who actually joined in, did a vocal, did a guitar line, co-wrote on a track, like. And I would love to, see this thing come to fulldom and then take all of these people on the one world tour, where it's not even necessarily big festivals and stuff, but to take the music all around. And if I can choose, to be honest, because I'm a little peculiar on that level, I would prefer to play shows all over the world, up to 500 or 1,000 people in special venues, than to just do the classical stadium or festival world tour, to be honest.
Yeah. I can understand that. Okay, with all that knowledge that you've just told me about the different cycles in, out, and the age, and you're doing your best stuff now, what piece of advice would you give to an artist that was sort of just starting out, 16-year-old you?
So I give everybody the same advice. I've been doing that for a long time now. I think you should be loving what you're doing while you're doing it, because many of us artists kind of have this, I wouldn't necessarily call it wrong, but this feeling of entitlement, like, I have a talent, people should, make this a profession for me because my talent is out there. And I've always felt like that's a really tough mentality to become happy of, like. So the way I see it is, if you love every minute of making music, even the recording, the making the album, the small shows, this interview I'm having with you right now, if you love all of those moments, then you've won before you've ever reached one stream.
I would probably put in a little bit of a different terminology, because the challenge that I have with loving something per se is, you've got to, in some ways, from a conscious perspective, you've got to love what you hate. Like, it's a bit Mandela-ish. You're in the jail cell, and if you're going to hate a jail cell because of what it represents, you're going to have a lot of, you're going to waste 20 years, 27 years or whatever. So eventually you've got to, I like to think that you've got to collaborate with everything that's there. And so if you're always collaborating, the love comes from the fact that you're experiencing the joy, the sadness, the pain, but that you're experiencing all of it. So it's not so much that you could say, I love getting stabbed, but if you got stabbed and you had a full experience of it, then you'd love the fact that you have a full experience of everything that comes along. And in that sense, then your created music comes from you. It doesn't come from what you've necessarily experienced externally. Externally is part of your experience, but you're responsible for everything that comes out of you.
Yeah, true story.
You can't blame anything that's happening out here, because it's up to you to process what you're going to do with what you experience that comes from out here. And so, in my eyes, a lot of people get caught up in the money trap, or the mortgage, or the this or the that, and they trade their lives for the thought of a better place somewhere. And there's no better place than here, because it's the only place that's here. It's here. So that would be my view. So I agree with you that, but it'd be more of the love of whatever experience you're having, rather than a love of anything particularly, like a love of I think that once you start to live by description, you limit yourself because you keep on thinking about that description as something, whereas turning up to something with an open mind for everything. Anyhow, it's probably a bit deep, so I apologize that, you know.
No. I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of a philosophizer myself, so I don't mind. And I agree with you. I think, like, to nuance it one more bit, like, to me it's really important. For instance, I've always been in the struggle as well, you know, like I told you, I've gone up and down a couple of times, and I felt in the past, even with myself, that you kind of lose yourself in the process because you're so fixated on we have to make money in the end of this, you know, we've invested, it has to be returned. And with this album, for the first time in my life, I told myself, look, you know, if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it
Perfect.
doesn't. But I'm going to
Perfect.
love the process of making it.
Perfect.
And I did that. And I think I did the best thing I've ever could. So, like, I moved the deadline 20 times.
Perfect. I think, you know, if you serve someone, you get 100% result. If you wait for something from the service, maybe you get 10%. So you want 100%, just serve. Don't worry about what you get. All right, here's
Exactly.
some quick fire questions. Let's finish off with some quick fire questions. What's the craziest thing you've ever done?
Music wise,
No, anyway. Anyway, whatever you want
anyway,
to say.
crazy. Oh, fly to Japan to go save a friend in jail
Ah, really?
on a last minute call. Yeah, he got lost in action. And then some girl called me via Instagram saying that he was supposed to text her. And then we called the embassy. And then they told us he's in jail in Japan. And then I took a flight with his sister to go get him out of there with the ambassador and the senator.
Well done, man. That's a story. I'm gonna get you back. We'll talk another time about some of these, you know, obscure philosophical processes, some existential, because that sounds
Very
like
cool.
something that would be interesting to sort of elaborate on. What's the one topic you can talk about for hours?
Music.
Yeah, it's probably you
But
know,
it could also be politics, philosophy. Like, I'm a very curious character, to be honest.
what
Okay.
country are you in?
Right now, Belgium.
Belgium. Brussels, man. I love Brussels. All the lights and all the restaurants. And I was there in the 80s. I was mental. It was fantastic. And there were
Wow.
guns on
Yeah.
every corner because
Yeah. It's a
they had
crazy
the
city.
UN there, didn't they? The UN building or
Yeah,
something.
they still do. They still do.
Madness. Um, what's the thing you like most about yourself?
Oh, being able to be my unapologetic self, I guess.
Good. Well, being able to be you,
Yeah.
unapologetic. What are we apologizing for? Finally, let's finish off with either all time or current favorites. Favorite album.
All time Dark Side of the Moon. Current favorite Malibu by Anderson .Paak.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. They're fantastic. Favorite artist.
Favorite artist, all time Bob Marley of the moment. Let's say Anderson .Paak and Parcels.
Okay. Favorite movie.
Favorite movie? Oh, Interstate 60, Episodes on the Road.
Really? What is that? What's that a movie about?
It's like an obscure movie from the early 2000s with Gary Oldman, where this abstract highway that doesn't really exist forms like a metaphor for society, and they discuss a lot of really cool society aspects in this movie. I would reckon you would love it. I think you would love it.
Gary Oldman, sensational. I love him. So he played that detective in that series, and
Yeah.
and he was just a scallywag all the way through, you know. But he was perfect in the role. He was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Mate,
amazing how he can do
I'll
so
look it
much
up.
with
I'm gonna watch it. Favorite place to
cool.
visit?
Brazil.
Brazil. It's a
Yes.
bit dangerous down there for me. Favorite venue to play?
Ooh, that's a really tough one. Favorite venue to play? I would say the theater you guys have in Sydney there.
Which
Or is it
one?
Melbourne?
Metro,
You,
no, the Enmore.
yeah, I think so. You have like one of these really beautiful,
The
famous
Enmore.
concert
The
halls.
the Enmore. The Enmore. Um, favorite food?
Favorite food? Japanese or Turkish?
Favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Something like dark and stormy, or some kind of a daiquiri on the beach.
No, exactly. Favorite person in history, apart from me?
Ooh, favorite person in history. Let's.
Now, if you've been a philosopher, you've obviously thought about this from time to time. You probably quote different people as someone comes up, a bit of advice, like you'll quote this happens or that happens. So you've probably got one if you think about it.
Yeah, I got a couple, but you reminded me of one. I'm gonna go with Albert Einstein on this
Uh,
one.
he was a great man. He's one of the few that didn't have a lot of bad, he wasn't an anti-Semite or he wasn't a bloody rapist or he wasn't,
Yeah, yeah,
most of
true,
the
true.
great people weren't so great.
Yeah,
And
and also his philosophy part is underestimated. He's more also than a scientist.
yeah, I think one of the issues I have with philosophy in some ways is its thought, and I'm a bit anti-thought because basically it's like Tolle, Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
Eckhart, they talk about once you're in form, you're not present. So once you're thinking about something, you're not experiencing whatever's taking place because you're in
Yeah,
thought. And so
fair
the
point.
only problem I have with philosophy, so what I like to think is there's two parts of us. There's like a spiritual side that's sort of Zen, that's connected to source, and there's a human side that's conditioned, that's connected to the Atari. So thought lives in the Atari, or or,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say, you know, from me thought lives in the Atari, whereas through me thought comes from source, and I listen to it when I talk about it. So when I'm in through me, I'm listening to myself like you might be listening to me. And so I think that all wisdom basically comes from inside. It's a bit like Socrates says that we're born with total knowledge and we just discover it rather than learn
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I think all sort of thought comes from in there.
That's
And
an interesting point.
go on.
No, it's an interesting point of view. I'm gonna look into that a little bit.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you're in a creative space. So the most creative you can be, like you think about jobs and all that, and they take acid and all this sort of stuff to open themselves up to create more fully. So what I do is I don't really use additives, but I use like meditation or something like that. So I try and open myself up by going in, if this is the doing or the this is observance. I try and sit here all the time so that I'm observing everything that's taking place, and that's where you talk about paying bills and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of for a long time now, I've got a lot poorer, and my family look at me, my brothers and that, as if what's happened, because I'm not the same guy I was from that perspective. And I think to myself, so a lot of people see you as diminishing when you're actually,
Growing.
well,
Yeah.
growing might not be the right word, but that's right. You're sort of discovering, and as you discover more of yourself, you become less attached to the part of you that just says this is success. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I totally agree with you. But people measure success by finances in almost every
yeah,
possible way. To
they
give you a
do.
small example, I travel a lot
Yeah,
and I've been a musician all my life, And when you sit on some beach, some bar, some whatever jungle with some people you don't know, and everybody's going around, hey, what do you do? What do you do?
yeah,
Usually when you say you're a musician, people just fly over that, okay, whatever. And then
yeah,
if later in the conversation somebody who actually knows me goes to like, this guy played like Tomorrowland and this, and he has that many listeners on Spotify, and all of a sudden they turn around and they look at you and you're like, you're a musician. And I'm like, bro, nothing changed between now and 5 minutes ago. The
exactly,
only thing you know is that I
exactly,
actually make money now.
exactly. This is why I do these interviews. You might say, I'm the CEO here. What are you talking to me for? Why did you say you talk to me and all this sort of stuff? Because this is the most important moment in my life because this is the moment that I can't replace this moment, and it has the same opportunity as every other moment that I've ever lived. And so, if I look at it from that perspective, I have a full experience. So, if I ask you a question, this is why I'm conversive in my. Some people say, "Why didn't you let him talk more?" I say, "Hey, mate, I'm here. We're having a conversation." And so, basically, if I'm here to try and help him promote his music solely, well, that's just stupid because basically that's us turning up to work and getting paid to work and then going home and waiting till night time to have half an hour to yourself. The whole fucking day's mine.
No, no, I
This,
totally agree with you. And I even,
and if we go,
yeah,
if we go, in my view, if we go quantum, I'm not even sure that we're having a conversation together. I'm not sure that you're listening to me. What could be happening is that I'm a vehicle for you having a conversation with yourself. And so
oh,
basically,
true
I'm the
story.
vehicle for that. And if you listen to that, you'll find everything you need to know from this ability for the universe to give me or to give you the opportunity to have me as the vehicle for you to have a conversation with self, that sort of
Yeah, yeah,
situation.
yeah.
And that to me, that opens up, and I'll stop now, but that opens up the whole creative process because basically when you're creating, you want to create something that's, fucking mind blowing. And so if you think it's mind blowing, that vibration is going to come off in your performance because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically you're performing something and they're going to pick up. The world is going to follow because that's predominantly what we create. We create a following environment. That's why they follow money because people that want to make money create something that they feel like they have to follow, like social media. What a crock. I
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
my YouTube account, can't get it back because there's no one there that serves in YouTube to fix it. Anyhow, sorry. So
No, no,
last
but I
question.
get you. But it felt like that also, to be honest. This is not the most average interview I've had. On the contrary, it feels more like a real conversation that's not only about music. So it's interesting from my perspective as well.
One question more. Well,
Mm.
the other thing is we make a relationship. What you do with that is up to you. So if you want to maintain it, continue it, you can, because basically I just see myself as a harmony and advance enabler. So
Hmm.
that's at this stage, I'm 68, so I really don't need anything from anyone. So basically, this is all part of the experience. I have my experience, you have an experience, and then if you want to ask a question, can you do this? Can you do that? You have an opportunity because you've already made the connection. Last question: are you a clean skin or you got a tattoo?
Clean skin,
No tattoo.
no tattoo
Never
whatsoever.
thought of it. Like musos, a lot of musos.
To be honest, to be honest, if I can tell you, I'm kind of a rebel. So when I was really young, if everybody would go right, the teacher would say we all go right, I would go left just to see why nobody's going left. And obviously, rock and roll musician as a youngster, so I would want all the tattoos in the world. But then I started realizing that every other guitarist around me had a tattoo, and that I would actually be more unique if I wouldn't.
Perfect.
And that's
I'm the same. If someone says there's $100 bill there, pick it up, put it in your pocket, I'd say, fuck off. You pick it up and put it in your pocket. That sort of situation. I'm the same, man. I'm the same. But I think
uh,
I think almost, and we'll finish here, but I think almost to be you, you've got to be because you're unique. And so ultimately, you've got to find your own path. And so there is flow in that. So there is facilitation, but it's a lot of times the facilitation is abused because a lot of people sort of steal your facilitation with a smile on their face.
yeah,
You
true
know?
story.
So that it's not a two-way sort of process. So you've got to work out where you are in that whole scenario, and it's not so much you can have compassion for people that steal, but when they open up the jail cell, you don't stay, even though you can live there. You leave,
Yeah, true
and so
story.
you find your right space. Anyhow, man, good luck with the single. Good luck with keep in touch about the rest of them. And
Hmm.
yeah, we'll have a vehicle here so that we can promote some of your stuff over the journey.
Super cool, man. Let's stay in touch. I'll talk to you later. I'll send you all the new stuff when it's out.
I
And
look forward
if
to
I
it.
may say, really thank you for reaching out after we reached out first, obviously. And
No problem.
really nice conversation. I wouldn't mind having one of these, even not on camera, over a pint.
So no problem, man. We can do that anytime. So keep in touch, and we'll actually we'll work out. I want to try and create an artist movement over time because I'd like to create a movement where the artists, where you work from the bottom up. So you create a movement of artists, and then when you've got the movement, you create a label, and then the label pays you bottom up, not top down. So it's not like, you know, the CEO gets 10 million and the people at the bottom get, you know,
$1.
0.005%. You know, that sort of situation to turn around. So anyhow,
Okay,
I
cool.
might die before then, but if I get anything going, we can all be a part of that sort of process, especially over there.
You can always let me know. I'm always down for creative thinking in what direction soever.
Good on you, man. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Same, same.
Take care of
Same,
yourself.
same. Enjoy your evening and speak later.